Hey, what's up? Just wanted to let you know before this episode starts that we usually record video when we do this podcast. However, I just forgot to click the record button until like a half hour into recording. That's my bad, but the audio is totally fine, so I'm just going to put screenshots up. Yeah, that's all though. Thanks for watching, and yeah, sorry about that. Hello, welcome to the show. How's it going,
Hey.
everybody?
Yeah, we get really scary backgrounds today, as you can see.
Yeah, it's a scary episode.
Boo. It's not even Halloween yet.
No, it's not even October. But a new Alien film came out to scare everybody called Alien Romulus. It's directed by Fed Alvarez. Is that how you say his name?
Fed or... I know it's Alvarez. Mr. Alvarez.
Mr. Alvarez. This film was directed by Mr. Alvarez.
Fede.
It is Fede.
Yeah, let's go with Fede.
I figured.
That sounds right.
Fede Alvarez. Okay, well now we know.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing's half the battle, right?
Is that like G.I. Joe?
Yeah. And the movie I actually thought it was pretty good. It's about like Kaylee Spaney and it's the guy, he's in Industry apparently, which I haven't seen.
David Johnson? I think that's his name.
Yeah, that David Johnson.
He was
Plays,
in
like,
Rye
an android.
Lane, which I still haven't seen.
Yeah, he's in Rye Lane also. Yeah, I have. So this is like the first thing I've seen with him. But he plays like an android, and they're like kind of brother and sister. And they work on this mining planet where basically it's like slave labor. You know, they have to work like a ridiculous amount of hours, and then they like, she's like, I worked my hours. She goes to the office, and they're like, nah, you just got to work like twice as many hours. They add the hours, and she's never gonna leave the planet ever. Waylon Yutani's an asshole.
Well, it's a company. Right?
Yeah, the owner of the company. He has like a whole planet of slaves. But so anyway, their plan, Kayleen Spaney has a plan to leave town with a bunch of other people that are her friends, I guess.
They're trying to go into hypersleep. Do we want to back? We jumped right into the synopsis. Do we want to like give background on the Alien series? Or
Oh yeah, well we can. I'm just giving the basic premise of the movie, like so people know what it's about, and then they get to they go to a space station and meet the alien. That's basically what it's about. Yeah. It's very like character focused, which I like. That's to me what makes a good alien movie. But yeah, as far as like the Alien franchise, it's like the first one's great. Second one's even better, arguably.
Yeah,
they're both great. They're
classics.
classics. Yeah, in their genre and sci-fi, horror, action, like whatever you want to call them. And then the third one, I don't really care for much. It's directed by David Fincher. That's like the most notable thing about it.
Yeah, he's disowned the movie since.
Yeah,
I know
people
you guys
like that one. It still has like a cult status.
Yeah, they're definitely fans. I know you guys covered it on the Sardonicast, and it's been a while since I've like watched it all the way through. I know there's like the assembly cut. I've never seen the whole thing.
I've never seen that. Yeah, they all have extended cuts and different cuts. I mean, every movie does. The Alien has a director's cut. Aliens has that extended cut.
Although ironically, just little side, but Alien, the director's cut, it's not technically, it's called the director's cut. It's more like an alternate version. Really, Scott, he considers the theatrical version like his definitive cut. It was more just like for like a re-release. But Aliens, that's special edition. That's actually more like a director's cut because like certain like details are more fleshed out. You find out like Ripley actually had a daughter that died while she was in hypersleep. They were like certain subplots that got cut out of the theatrical version.
And then Alien Resurrections, the fourth one.
John Pierre Jeunet
has some similar things that happen that are like the new film, actually, Romulus. Mm-hmm. But, we don't have to give away too much at this point. But yeah, I rewatched Resurrection recently because I've been in an alien mood. And that one, I've never liked it, but I don't care for that one. The characters in that one are really bad.
Yeah, that one I just watched for the first time recently, whatever that was, like last week or 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it definitely, I think it has a better idea of what it is compared to Alien 3, because obviously that, a lot of people probably know, like that production was famously tumultuous, like directors came and writers came and went, and Resurrections is kind of like unapologetic schlock.
It's pretty straightforward as well.
Yeah, it's like you want another
trying to be
alien
like a
movie,
Hollywood, blockbuster.
Yeah, Joss Whedon wrote it. There's some really dumb lines in it, and I guess like it.
Who do I gotta fuck to get off this shit?
Yeah.
It's just like that's such like a Joss Whedon.
There are some good things about it, like the makeup, but yeah, overall, I'm not like crazy about it either. I didn't really like it.
Yeah, with the Winona Ryder character was terrible.
The android, which we'll get to in Romulus too.
Yeah, Ron Perlman's in it as well. I don't.
Yeah, there's a good cast like Brad Dourif and Dan Hedaya. Like some like supporting actors. The cast in general don't tend to be an issue in these alien movies. They tend to get good actors.
They get good people. The dude Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Brad Dourif.
Dourif. Yeah.
And obviously, like, one of the, among the many strengths of the first two are like all the, great, like, charismatic actors they have, throughout. Not just Sigourney Weaver, but yeah, like, the guys playing her.
Oh, yeah.
The
first one is
crew.
like, Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, Fred Cateau and, Veronica Cartwright, Tom Skerritt, all those guys. Yeah, Ian Holm.
Yeah, they're all awesome.
Yeah, and then the Marines, too, with Bill Paxton and, Jeanette Goldstein, Michael Biehn. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, right. And then those are like the main four. And then was it just Alien vs. Predator after that?
Well, those two, and then Ridley Scott returned to the series because he didn't do. I guess like he wasn't asked back for Aliens. I think they did an interview recently. Because then he did like Blade Runner and everything else. It's impressive like how well like Aliens turned out, because when you like on paper it's kind of like it was a couple of years later. It's like Ripley's the only returning character. It's like almost
brand new
a lot of different actors, different crew, but yeah, like they really complement each other well. But yeah, anyway, Ridley Scott, he came back years later for Prometheus, which was a prequel of sorts, and then Alien Covenant.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then we can cover the movies in more depth in another episode, because we're here to talk about Romulus.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. Sorry.
Right. There's a lot. There's a lot to this series. There's a lot of history to it, and it's very like the quality's been all over the place. I actually like Prometheus. Alien Covenant, I don't like.
Yeah, I don't love either of them. Prometheus looks great.
Yeah, but they both.
I know you reviewed Covenant. Yeah.
Yeah, and Prometheus is a beautiful looking movie, and then I've said more than enough about Alien Covenant. I don't need to.
Yeah.
Right, it's not a review of that. But people are doing that thing now that I hate, where now that Romulus is coming out, they're like, "Oh yeah, Alien Covenant was so great, wasn't it?" Like they do like that rose-colored glasses bullshit.
Sure, yeah.
Where like, "Oh, the last movie was actually great, and this new one sucks, and we were all stupid. Like we didn't appreciate it." It's there's some cool things. Like there's some cool like gore in Covenant. It's not a great movie, and this one, like, it's not as gory, but Alien's not particularly gory. The first one, aside from like one scene, obviously.
Yeah,
but it's not like a Friday the 13th kill count kind of schlock movie.
No, it was about like in Aliens as well, like building suspense. They kind of. I mean, like the first one particularly, kind of like it took like, the sci-fi elements of like 2001 and Star Wars, stuff like that, and kind of combined it with, like Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, kind of like the idea of like a haunted house type movie and like a, spacecraft.
And that's definitely how Romulus felt. It felt like a haunted house in a spaceship to me. It's like, it had a good atmosphere, which is what I think I'm really looking for from like an alien film. It was all like that tension and like exploring the spaceship. Everything looks great. Like the effects in this movie are fucking fantastic, except for the what this is one effect. Yeah,
certain character.
We can get into spoilers like at some because I already reviewed this film. I wanted to mainly go into depth with spoilers and stuff with you, because you've seen it also. I saw it again since reviewing it the first time on my channel. Yeah. So there's like a lot to talk about that I even mentioned in my review, that people are like, why didn't you talk about this? So it's like, we have this video to talk about it. But anyway, so as far as like what else I liked about the movie, the score is great. Benjamin Wallfish, I think something like that, but he did Annihilation, I believe that was him.
Yeah, this one also, it almost kind of like a techno vibe to it.
Yeah, at times, but it's just like good composition, like throughout. Like it was never distracting to me when it used like electronic elements and stuff like that. And yeah, there's some good it's a good soundtrack. It's like, worthy of Alien, because I was like rewatching those Alien versus Predator movies, and there's like everything about those movies is terrible. Like the music is shit and doesn't match anything, and yeah, so the music was good. They definitely captured the vibe of like Alien Alien, the original one, the the computers and like that analog kind of feel, which is missing in Prometheus. That's one of the best parts of like Alien. I don't know why they're missing that. It's also missing Sigourney Weaver. Of course, this movie, which I think some people are upset about too and complain about, like you can't have an Alien movie without Sigourney Weaver. At the same time, I'm kind of glad they just did their own thing. And they didn't
for the most part, not
completely. They do. Like they have to throw in references, sadly, but there wasn't like the scene where like Sigourney Weaver shows up and like, oh, I gotta help you fight the alien or whatever. Because I feel like at that point it just gets like so like you can't take it seriously anymore.
Right, and also too, I think that Romulus is meant to be set in between Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, so it just makes sense because Ripley's supposed to be asleep. It's like in that
drifting in space.
It's actually a pretty big gap of time she's asleep. It's like
57 years.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like somewhere in there, which is again, I liked the like world building and all that. They tie it into Prometheus, and yeah. So let's just go into spoilers, I guess. Right. Yeah. So do you want to like give a rating or something before?
Yeah, I could. I don't know if I like it quite as much as you. I was definitely entertained.
Yeah.
I think.
What's your issues with it?
Well, that we are going into spoiler territory. I think I think it excelled best when it was trying new things. Like there's like the great part, like the zero gravity sequence, because obviously a big conceit of the xenomorph, the aliens, they bleed acid, so we don't want to shoot it, so like blows a hole into your spaceship. So yeah, they try to work
blow
around
a hole
that.
on you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, people get horribly scarred and burnt, and so like Kaylee Spaney's character, I can't remember her name. She was like shooting it, so they're floating around, so the acid doesn't immediately hit the edge of the ship, and
that's a fun scene. The zero gravity stuff looked great. Again, going back and see the effects and stuff, like it looks excellent.
Yeah, I think certain things that held it back were like a lot of the callbacks to the earlier ones, some of which worked fine. Like, there's even one a reference to or homage to Alien 3, the way when the 20th century logo comes up, like the orchestral sting.
They do that.
Like it's not the usual fanfare, or the fanfare stops abruptly. But yeah, the inclusion of Ian Holmes' likeness I found very odd. I
found odd.
I think people were saying it was AI. I think it's a CGI from what I could see. I know they did a little bit in Rogue One. I think this one it was even less like necessary because it's not even meant to be the same Ash character that was in the first one, because obviously he was incinerated and then the ship exploded. I guess it just happens to be like another android that resembles him. But yeah, it's a little off-putting, kind of like they focus on the character. You might as well just use a different actor at that point if it's meant to be like a completely different character.
No, that was distracting. Yeah, they're trying to make it like it's the same android, and that is a consistent thing within, because like Michael Fassbender's android, there's like multiples of him going around. That's like an Alien Covenant. He kisses himself and
I'll do the
very odd film. But that's right. So speaking of androids, probably my favorite character in the movie was the David Johnson character.
He was good.
Who to me was always like the most rational one of like all the group, and that was one of my complaints, is like they try to do this like forced conflict when Andy has to insert a CPU chip into his
slot. It's like a Game Boy cartridge kind of thing.
They need to do it to get like open a door because they're stuck in a room with a bunch of xenomorphs that are in plastic.
Yeah, I mean that also. Sorry to cut you off. Like that, like adjusts his temperament a little bit, because before he's very kind of like mild mannered, and then when he inserts the cartridge, he becomes.
I saw another review mention. I thought this too. Like he seems like almost like he has special needs in the beginning.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, he's an android. That makes sense. He's like very old, outdated model. And then he gets this upgrade. I guess they take like Ash's CPU out of Ash, which is clear. Like they don't reveal it's Ash yet, but at that point I'm like, yeah, it's clearly like, come on, like I knew it was him. But
they call him Rook in this one, so yeah.
Yeah,
so I guess it's meant to be a different character, but obviously he looks like him. Yeah.
And then they have the big reveal at some point. And, that's what's in. Andy, and it makes Andy right. It upgrades him, but it also makes him like a bit more of a, I guess, asshole.
Yeah, cold, calculated, machine.
But yeah, like the stuff he does is like, all right, I'm not gonna let the xenomorph in here because he's gonna like murder all of us. Switch to them, they like slap him or whatever. But it's like, like I probably would have done the same thing, really, because he was probably right. It probably would have just killed them all. And I hate when movies do that. There's another instance of that in the movie as well. But yeah, I just thought that was dumb. But yeah, I agree with you as far as the references as well. That stuff it's not, it didn't like ruin the movie for me, but especially when I watched it the second time, there were a lot of like I told you when I saw it the second time, there's the kid with the bandana is like playing on a gamepad, and then he shuts it off, and it says "Game Over, man." And there's a lot of references like that. To me, those are like really dumb because they're just so unnecessary. You could just easily cut them out of the movie, and it would have no impact on anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lines like that. There's one toward the end as well. Get away from her, you bitch. And there's like other shit. And there's a couple other ones also. And yeah, putting Ash in there and all this stuff. It's like they didn't need this. This is like almost Disney like told them to do it because it is 20th Century Studios now. So it's like Disney's
Disney property.
Yeah, corporate arm ultimately influencing. I don't know why they do this in like all their franchises, like the de-aging, the bringing people back, and like they did it with Rogue One, and they did it in is it the what's that Star Wars movie? Not Last Jedi, the one the
Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker. Carrie Fisher, you mean?
I hate the title. Yeah, they bring her back on that. Yeah, Rise of Skywalker, shitty title. But yeah, I don't know why they insist on doing it. I don't like it.
No.
I still think this is a good movie, but
sure.
Right. I think that was probably like the most distracting element of the film. And it also just looked bad at times. The first shot when it's revealed is probably like the worst shot of it.
Yeah.
And then there's other times it looked okay.
Well, it's tricky with an effect like that because, you obviously know it's fake because the actor has passed away.
It looked okay when he was talking to them through the computer monitor because it's like there's like static and shit to cover it. Yeah, you can
fudge it a little more, right?
And he's glitchy, so it's just like his mouth movements are very, he's supposed to be an android, so you can kind of sell it. But when it's like a close-up of him, like, and you see that on the screen, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and also with the quotes, too. Yeah, I'm not always big on... I think this is a better movie than like those, David Gordon Green like Halloween sequels, but that like that whatever Halloween Kills, like they brought back the characters from the first one. They're like doing their lines again. That was very crappy.
It didn't get to that extent with this, where they like bringing back the characters. That's why I'm glad Sigourney Weaver didn't come back, and it just became like a schlock fest because. Like Terminator, Dark Fate, like Linda Hamilton comes in. She's like,
yeah, that movie didn't do very well
for a horror film. That really would have taken me out of like the thrill of the situation and seeing the alien and whatever.
Yeah, and one of the things I liked about Prey, which is a good movie that I liked, and you liked it as well. Like they didn't really do many like I don't recall too many. Callbacks to the first one. It just felt like its own story. Like, the girl wasn't saying, the chick, she wasn't like, kill me, I'm here. She wasn't like quoting.
Get to the chopper.
Right, yeah.
Not that she'd have a scenario where she could say that because it took place like
Maybe chopping
200 years ago,
plants or crops or something. that would have been fun.
Yeah, Native American. But
yeah,
right. You don't need that stuff to make like the movie. You know, it's got the xenomorph in it on the poster, like, and the face hugger. That's all you need. You don't need to throw in like the lines and the characters because it doesn't. It's in there for like people like us who know what that shit is, and we don't like it. And then like someone who doesn't know any of that stuff is gonna be like, oh, okay. Like someone who's never seen an alien movie before. Like if I show this to my girlfriend, she's never, you know, she'll be like, okay, this is a guy.
Oh,
why is this even in here then? You know, it's just, it's unnecessary. Yeah, I agree with you as far as that. And yeah, again, I don't hate this film because of that.
Yeah, it just depends how much it takes you out of it. You know, I like Kaylee Spaney. I think, yeah, you know, she's becoming a pretty big name that with between this and like Priscilla and like Civil War. Yeah, I think she's
in
like
a lot of stuff. Bad Times at the El Royale. She's in that. Yeah, she's much younger in that, but yeah, you know, she's a good actress. I liked her character in this movie. I thought she was great.
Yeah, she definitely like gels well into this world. Like, yeah, you don't want like a character who's too like kind of what's, you know, like, I don't know, like loud. I guess, you know, kind of more like understated.
She is very understated, but at the same time, she's usually the one coming up with ideas. And like she's probably one of the smartest characters in it, yeah. And some of them are unlikable, but I think that's supposed to be kind of the case.
Yeah,
some of them.
There definitely is some red shirts, like the Cockney guy. I had a hard time understanding.
It wasn't as bad as it like Alien Covenant or something.
No,
like that,
I'm sure.
Where it's just like 20 characters and you don't know any of them. They're all acting like idiots like the whole time. Like it kept it pretty contained with like 6 characters. They're all kind of young, which I do think that makes them feel like a bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, and that was a deviation from, yeah, there was something, you know, Roger Ebert pointed out about the first one, like the cast, there wasn't like, you know, like your typical horror movie cast. They were like, you know, most of them were, you know, relatively old, at least compared to,
exactly.
They weren't like teenagers.
They were like in their 30s or 40s, right? Whereas this is more like a kind of standard horror movie where they're younger. But again, I think that works fine, you know. It gets young people into the franchise, which I think is good too. Because they're just trying to market to young people also. And it's different. And they're, you know, they're building like a new protagonist, like this Kayleen Spaney character. And the David Johnson character as well is a big part of the movie. I don't want to undersell his part. But yeah, I thought he was great. I thought Kayleen Spaney was great. Yeah. The rest of them, you know, the other guy, whatever, I thought he was okay. Isabella Mercer, I actually thought she was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it too. It's a better movie for her than Madam Web.
Yeah, it is.
She had like no character.
Transformers 5, I think.
Oh, was she in that? I never saw that.
Yeah, she's much younger in that. And Dora.
Right, Dora. I was thinking of that.
Dora.
Did that movie even do well? I feel like I didn't hear shit about the Dora Explorer.
People go see that. People see it. It's really funny. Yeah, in this movie she gets fucked up. She gives birth to a disgusting. That scene was gory.
Yeah, well, yeah. To explain, I mean, a lot of people may have already seen it, but yeah, like she's pregnant. Yeah. You know, when the movie starts, and then she gets injected with these. What do you call like micro?
They take like the goo from Prometheus somehow. They extract it out of the face hugger, and they inject it into her because it's like, oh, it's a cure. It'll help you.
And it does not help her.
It does not. It makes her ooze out. She's like lactates like the goo, or that's what that was supposed to be. Because she like does. I didn't understand that the first time. She like lactates goo.
Yeah.
And then she gives birth to like this fucking egg comes out of her with acid inside of it, and then what comes out of it is this little like half man, half xenomorph thing. I thought that was really fucking cool, actually.
I liked how tall it was. It was
giant. Yeah, it looks sick. It looks like really. It looks frightening. It's like because Resurrection kind of did a similar thing, but I think that looked really goofy. But this looked scary. It's like something that could give someone nightmares easily. And it turns out there is like an actor playing that. Part. That's like a real guy in like a suit, I guess, and
I think
maybe there's some kind of like stilts or
I caught like some behind the scenes thing, and Fede Alvarez like, all right, you know, blow up
whatever
the guy's name is.
He's like talking to
the guy. It's like It's very pale.
Kayleen Spaney's there, like with the
This vibing, yeah, and she's teeny, so yeah, like the whatever the size is even more pronounced.
Yeah, that's cool about it too. Casting her, but yeah, I like that part of it, and it's not like the xenomorph again. It's doing something a bit different. It's mixing up. It is the similar formula as like the first Alien, where you think it's over, but then the fucking thing comes out, and Aliens does the same thing. Where think it's over, and then Bishop gets ripped in half. But like here, it works. It's like a fun ending. I think it's like it wouldn't be an Alien movie without that structure, and to have like this interesting new monster that you've never seen before. It was fun. It was a cool idea. It was worth like watching the movie to get to that, and the rest of the movie is entertaining too. Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna do the same shit again. It's like, how can we do something that the audience isn't expecting? Like, even if it's just like at the very end, and that was like, it was worth it. It was fun. Yeah, that thing's disturbing, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think this one, like, I like, it was trying to establish, because like you said with, the character Rain, I think it was her name. Like, it's kind of like more like focus on everyday life, because I mean, the first one is literally you just following the crew like in space. There are no other characters, and
yeah, Ripley isn't even necessarily the main. At least it's not obvious because there's so many other characters.
It's not telegraphed. And obviously Aliens. You don't see like she joins the Marines and they head to the planet pretty early on. This like Romulus was more, I think, kind of like delving into like everyday life, the idea of like living in this like world. Like her working a crappy job or whatever, because you didn't get a ton of that in the other movies. Which exactly. I thought was not a bad idea.
There was also the other character we didn't mention, the Asian girl.
Yeah, she's the one on the poster. Yeah, she got the face hugger. One thing, I noticed like it's definitely an element in the first one's particular, but they definitely pronounced like the phallic nature of these animal the creatures, because the face hugger, it's only like a cock going in your mouth, like
the face hugger, it looks like a vagina, the bottom of it.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of phallic imagery and
right, even just like the design of it,
like a dick. It has a dick come out of it.
Yeah, because it is kind of like the idea of like a guy or anybody like being forced to give birth. It's kind of like a terrifying idea. The idea of like an alien gestating inside you.
Yeah, the jump scares were fine. There were like a couple, but
they weren't overused.
I like Don't Breathe, so
that's a good movie.
I like this director. I think he makes good horror films. I think he understands like what an audience is looking for from this kind of thing. And like, this movie, I don't think it's perfect, but I definitely liked it. I definitely enjoyed it a lot.
I'm leaning towards like positive. I'm probably being a little hard on it because again, we love the first two so much. We've seen them so many times. Like it is hard, like when it's like the 9th installment, like to keep things fresh.
When you're like into the universe as well, though, like I think it's got pretty good like background and stuff. Like the whole premise of this movie, I enjoyed that. It's basically the alien from the first movie, the one Ripley launched out of the airlock or whatever. She it attached onto a comet or a meteorite or something, and that's the space station found it, and then the thing came out and wreaked havoc, impregnated everybody, and that's like, but they killed it, and you see it hanging from the ceiling at some point. But it's like, oh, it's like cool background for this story. It doesn't like directly tie in. It's not like they have to fight it, but it's just like cool, like setting the stage for everything. And it did a good job with that and like building the mystery of like the story. And
it helps, it is such like a revered franchise, and also the idea it's not like, it's different from like Michael Myers. It's not like it's just one killer, like, there are multiple creatures that, the design, H.R. Giga, like it's still so like frightening, just the idea, like, it's giant, it has like, another, inner jaw, inner.
I think the image of it was head. Like kind of ruined a bit in like the 2000s by like the shitty AVP movies and whatever. But there's been enough distance from those now that you can kind of, right. So I enjoyed Alien Romulus overall. I don't know about you. I don't know what you would give it a rating.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6 for now. Maybe I'll come, be more positive on it if I watch it again. But yeah, I think that's fair enough for now. Like if it's doing pretty well. Like if you're curious, I say like you can check it out. It's definitely much better than something like Exorcist Believer.
Yeah, I definitely just thought it worked really well as a horror science fiction film. I really like the atmosphere of this movie. Good characters.
Yeah,
really good lead scares and stuff like that. And yeah, great effects. A couple good scares. Top of the line in that regard, like production value, production design, cinematography and lighting, like all those things are just like top notch. Did a great job with that. Fede Alvarez. I got you. I see you, Fede.
Yeah, I think Ridley Scott seemed like he gave his seal of approval.
Yeah, did he produce it?
He may have, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it ties in well with everything, I think. It's not like, ruin the franchise or whatever, which,
yeah, it's the 9th movie. Yeah, even
Ridley Scott has done that himself almost with Covenant.
I think he's contributed quite a lot to the sci-fi genre.
Yeah. He's contributed a lot, like the gay robots in Alien Covenant.
I was thinking more Blade Runner.
I will blow into the hole. Whatever he says.
All right. Do you want to move on to Close Encounters?
Yeah. So yeah, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 or 3.5. A little bit more than you. Enough to say that I enjoyed that. And yeah, I did see it twice. I saw it in RPX both times.
That's in whatchamacallit, the Regal, yeah.
Yeah, Regal, yeah. I was gonna see it IMAX, but like they canceled the show times like right before, which is so weird.
They turned the air conditioning off.
Yeah, they turned the air conditioning off in my theater. This damn liberals didn't want me to watch Alien Romulus. Yeah, it's like
those
what they
commies.
There were all these stories when Sound of Freedom came out that AMC employees turned off the AC because.
Yeah,
why they don't want people to see Sound of Freedom? Like they even give a shit. They probably just hate their fucking jobs.
It was like the anti-Barbie audience, like the people that would never see Barbie. They went to see Sound of Freedom.
I went to see Barbie and they didn't have the AC on. It's just like shut the fuck up.
They hate women.
But yeah. Anyway, I guess that's Alien Romulus. Good job. Good. So I'm gonna switch my background now. Ready to.
1 sec. I don't have a Close Encounters still ready.
To this one. And yeah, you can switch your background while I talk about the movie or introduce it. This is one of my favorite movies. It's directed by Steven Spielberg.
It was his follow-up to Jaws, which is obviously a huge
1977.
hit. Yeah, it came out at the same time as Star Wars.
Yeah. And yeah, it has that that's interesting because it has that science fiction spectacular element to it. It also reminds me of 2001, like Kubrick, kind of with like the opening too, like the opening, like the first. It's like what is that called, the overture?
Yeah.
Like that part. It's kind of like 2001-esque with like the choir. It's basically about like an alien encounter of sorts, like if UFOs, aliens came to Earth. But, in the film we just talked about, the aliens are deadly predators. They're murdering everybody, and you don't want to be. These are friendly aliens. These are nice aliens. Eyes. They want to come down. They say hi, how are you? And then they leave. They play a little music, and then they leave.
Right? Yeah.
That's it. They just want to say hello. Yeah. And it's just an interesting story. Like, it's about like mankind's kind of discovering this, what is this? What's going on? What's the mystery? There's these planes that are disappearing.
Then reappearing.
And they're like, what's going on? These planes are old. These are from like, World War II. Why are they reappearing now? So they're already, they build like that mystery from the beginning. Like, you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know. It's like, what's going on here? It has something to do with aliens because of the title, but the way they like build like that information, and like you want to you want to like see what's going on. There's this real like sense of like it's wonder. Very whimsical and like like the term movie magic, like this movie to me is like movie magic. Like it makes you really feel like these like these grand emotions. Like, you know, the universe is so big. There's all these things that can happen. Spielberg really has like a good imagination. And he wrote the film too. And yeah, it's just, it's almost like childlike. It makes you feel like, wow. Like, oh, the way only his films make you feel, you know?
Yeah, it's very much his vision. On top of, you know, all the other collaborators like Douglas Trumbull, who, you know, passed away recently. He also worked on like 2001, you know, with the optical effects. You can see that with like, you know, how the spaceships look and the, you know, the way the clouds form. And yeah, I agree with all that. And there's also like a, you know, I think a really strong sense of unease throughout, because, you know, Richard Dreyfuss's character early on, he, you know, obviously he sees the spacecraft, and you know, he starts behaving very erratically, and, you know, alienates his family, you know, and ends with, he never, like, you know, he splits up with his family. And,
basically his family thinks he's crazy. And yeah, that whole dynamic's interesting too, like his son crying at the dinner table, like, you know, his son, like his dad's going crazy, like with the mashed potatoes, just a pile of mashed potatoes, like, you know, fucking pile of it. Yeah, it goes nuts. If basically.
Yeah, he's going nuts. If you're a fan of this movie, the Simpsons did a great parody of the mashed potatoes scene, because Homer, he wants to go to clown college, so he's forming a circus tent out of the mashed potatoes. It's a really funny parody. But yeah, I think there is, like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of that's like maybe drawn from his personal life, Spielberg's life. You know, like a lot of that in E.T. and the Fabelmans, like, you know, the broken family, you know, the splitting of the family, and yeah, I think, you know, there could be an argument, because like this was still kind of like the new Hollywood era. Like, it's a kind of like a comment on, like, you know, maybe his character deep down is uncomfortable with domesticity, because even early on you could see he is kind of like odd, like the way like he interacts with his family. They're like trying to talk to him. He's like, you know, worried about like Pinocchio, seeing Pinocchio or whatever. Yeah, he's kind of a kook.
Yeah, and then it's implied like the aliens are transmitting like some kind of message to him into his brain that makes him, you know, make this mountain, the mountain that you see behind me, and it's also in yours. Is a different angle, mm-hmm. But like the
Devil's Tower, yeah.
But again, like the character also, like you said, is an oddball. He's an outsider. He's not comfortable like in his world, like literally. So he also wants to break out of it, like in his like without the manipulation of the aliens and so on. It's almost just like the extra push like he needs, you know, because yeah, you're right. He doesn't fit in with his family life and then he just goes off with the aliens at the end. He's like, I'm gonna go to outer space with the aliens. And yeah, it's like, oh wow, okay, that's interesting.
He's ready to venture out. Yeah, I think like Spielberg, he said like if he made the movie today, he wouldn't have had like the character like abandon his family. So fast. He just
goes off. But, yeah, I guess it's vague, like he could come back or something, but.
Right, but obviously it wasn't like he got the green light. They didn't show him calling his wife, whatever, strange wife. So yeah, I'm gonna be gone for God knows how long.
Yeah, he just kind of goes. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but I think it works within the story anyway. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the characters are really good. That's one thing about the film that's great. Is like they go to all these different perspectives, and you like all the people you're following, like the Richard Dreyfuss character, but also the Francois Truffaut. Is that
Francois Truffaut? Yeah, legendary.
I really like that character, like the French scientist, and you see all these scientists and people, stuff like that, technicians like trying to communicate with the aliens and like trying to triangulate it. It's kind of, he does the same thing in E.T. also, with like there's the military trying to force like their interaction with the alien, and also, you know, you have like the normal kind of like the relatable perspective, like of like, you know, Richard Dreyfuss and like the is it the mother and her son,
Melinda Dillon,
Melinda Dillon, her son goes missing by the aliens in a really like intense scene. Like that scene's really intense. It's great. But yeah, it becomes like a horror film, like almost.
Yeah, there are definitely some horror elements. Yeah, like with the lighting, and the use of sound is very prominent. You know, John Williams' score.
Yeah, exactly. The score is phenomenal for this movie too.
This was definitely like a prime era for like, you know, sci-fi movies. You know, like it came out at the same time as Star Wars, and then there was, you know, Ridley Scott's Alien, and you know, The Thing, and all these other movies, Blade Runner, Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
but these effects were fantastic. They were top notch. Like by today's standards, it looks great. It's all models and stuff. It's just like stuff like that, models and like compositing and the clouds effects too. That was a cool effect.
Yeah, I think that was like done by using paint or something, like putting something in like some kind of mixture.
I like the credits of the movie. They really highlight the spaceship. Like you can really see it.
Yeah, the ending.
Because it's a cool model, and they use it just for like one scene at the end. They want to show it off a little bit, which I thought was a good idea. And you have that John Williams music swelling, and you're like, wow, I saw this amazing adventure, and like that's the magic of Spielberg. He can do that. He's the only one, and it doesn't feel like corny. Like you're actually really engaged in like the mystery, like you said.
It's definitely like a common theme throughout a lot of his movies. But it kind of like contrasting, everyday minutia with like the fantastical, like because there's like that great moment, early on when Roy, the Roy character, he's like driving, he's like stopping in traffic, and then there's like another car that's stuck behind him and moves around, and then there's like another set of lights, but obviously it's the spacecraft, stuff like that, and like whatever, like when the wind is blowing and like the woman's cards are flying, there's stuff like that. That's very much like his style.
Yeah. There's also just a lot of great cinematography in this movie.
Yeah, Vilmos Zsigmond, famous cinematographer. He did like, McCabe and Mrs. Miller and The Deer Hunter. Yeah, a lot of big movies around this time.
It looks fantastic, this movie. It communicates, like it has storytelling within each frame, which is like, that's the goal of cinematography. It's not just like, oh, it looks nice. One of my favorite shots is him building the giant mountain in his living room with all the mud and shit that he brought inside from the window, and then
freaking out the whole neighborhood.
And then but he's working on that in the background, and then in the foreground, like you see it on the TV, like the actual mountain that he's imagining. He doesn't know it's a real mountain. He's just like the aliens are transmitting it in his brain. And then he goes on the phone and you see the mountain in the back, and you see on the TV, they're doing the news report, telling a whole story with just in one frame without even moving the camera. That's good filmmaking,
Exactly.
It's very effective.
Terry Garr plays the wife. She's funny. I think Spielberg, he was saying he wanted like kind of like a funnier act, because like the scene where the wife, she takes off with the kids, like she kind of plays, it's not like sad, it's almost more like comical, like in a good way.
It's odd tone.
It's like, what are you doing? Like you're leaving, you're not even dressed. She's like, what? Like you're like acting like a fucking psycho.
Like the whole neighborhood. He goes on the car. I love how it escalates. He just like keeps acting crazy.
Like good, other good like comic beats, like he's trying to pull the trash can away from the garbage man, and also like he's stealing the neighbor's chicken wire, and she's like back off. She's holding up the blow dryer like as if it's like a weapon or something.
Yeah, that's funny. All the chickens are running around. Yeah, the Devil's Tower. That's a cool location.
Yeah, maybe we could do Close Encounters.
We should totally go visit. Where is it?
They've
Nevada
never really
or some shit.
I wasn't sure I thought it was Arizona. I could be wrong.
It's a very interesting location. Wyoming.
Yeah, like you have the background behind you. Yeah, the spaceship above the tower.
That's a great scene. So yeah, the aliens. To get more into the ending, that's like the big scene. Is like the ending. The military goes to the mountain because they just figure it out. I think like from a variety of sources, and
like they get like this code. It's kind of hard to describe. There is like a lot of like information,
of like the mumbo jumbo, but they figure it out.
But basically, the one the translator Bob Balaban, who's been in a bunch of other stuff since. He's been like in Wes Anderson movies, and he said I think these are coordinates, so they determine the location, and then a bunch of the spaceships arrive, and then the little teeny aliens come out, and and also too like a bunch of people who had been abducted and now like
the guys from like World War II.
They haven't aged.
Yeah. All the aliens come out, and they also play music, which they play like a little tune before, which makes sense. They can't talk, like we can't talk to them. So how do they communicate? They communicate through music. They play little tunes, which is that's a cool concept. I think I've never seen that in a movie.
it works very, very well. In a cinematic sense, not to sound too pretentious, but yeah, it definitely, it's
it works really well.
Like a bunch of exposition.
Yeah, and you see the lights, flickering. Well, yeah, it's not just like a bunch of exposition, like we are aliens, we are friendly, we are. The whole fact that they can't communicate in like a conventional sense is what makes the story cool. And then also, like, when they're communicating, it's a spaceship, but it's not that big. And then that one leaves, and then the mothership comes, or presumably the mothership, which is like this it's fucking giant, and it comes out of nowhere. Like, you have no idea. It just comes out from behind the mountain. Mm-hmm. That's so cool. That's such a great moment, that reveal. It really gives you that sense of awe that, like, you're supposed to have when you see that, just because it's so giant and the scale of it, We were talking when we talked about Ant-Man, that shitty Ant-Man movie, the third one, how there was no sense of scale for anything, so you couldn't even tell like what his powers are. Like, the mountain is a good sense of scale, and then you see it's like 3 times the size of the mountain, and that's what makes it fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a great scene, and then that's when they take Richard Dreyfuss, whatever. Not take him; he wants to go because he hates his family.
Voluntary. Yeah.
And then they also bring back the little kid that they abducted earlier, and the kid seems fine. The kid was like happy the whole time. Even when the kid got abducted, he was like laughing, smiling with the aliens.
Yeah. He never seems scared, which is fun.
That's fine. So the mom is not too upset, I guess.
I like it. He has a Boston University shirt in his first scene.
I noticed that. That was funny. Yeah. The kid was cute too.
Yeah, he's good. I think actually Kubrick wanted him for The Shining, for the Danny role, but for whatever reason he didn't do it. So they got Danny Lloyd. But yeah,
I didn't know that.
I had read that. And it's cool too. Like, I was Spielberg. He's gone back to the sci-fi several times since with E.T. and AI and Minority Report. But all of them are like pretty different from each other. Even
War of the Worlds, definitely even. Because War of the Worlds, those are killing us, but not friendly.
But they do the same. E.T. there's definitely E.T. there's definitely similarities, but like that feels distinct because it's from Elliot's point of view. It's from a kid's point of view.
Yeah, that's what makes E.T. unique.
Obviously making friends, because you see E.T. for most of the movie, and in Close Encounters you don't see the aliens.
Yeah, it's not. This is not from like the child's perspective of this story. Really, it's about the adults, and like it's more like grander in scale and scope. The terms of like the alien stuff, it's much more like methodical in that way. And then E.T.'s more like, well, for the child's perspective, it's very like emotional. E.T.'s cute, like you see him throughout the movie, and like does silly things, dress him up as a ghost, as a little girl, or that's the angle of E.T. That's what makes the two films. And E.T.'s like very emotional too, like the ending. This is as well, but it's different sense. It's that one's emotion. It's a very sad ending. E.T. It's bittersweet, but it's sad because you don't want E.T. to go. Right. This is you're not like attached to the aliens in this movie. They just like
not in the same way, right? The mother character, Melinda Dillon plays. She actually got an Oscar nomination, which is cool. There weren't a ton for like sci-fi movies then, for like acting performances. Like she wants to be reunited with her son. Sorry.
Yeah, she's trying to find her kid. Yeah, that's like her main. She doesn't give a shit about any of this, like the aliens or whatever. She's trying to find her son, which is her motivation, it's cool. But yeah, she also gets swept away in kind of the scope of it, the whole. Like, I love the scene when the spaceships fly by on the highway. It looks great. Yeah. Like, by today's standards, it looks great, those spaceships. Also, like, there's like a little red dot that follows them. You don't really, they never explain what that is. Like, what sure. Yeah, I guess it's like a little ship. You don't know what it is, but they don't explain it. It's great. Like, the mystery of the things they don't explain even makes it fun.
I like how it's one of the first scenes, like they're in the air traffic control tower, and like basically they're getting reports of guys seeing the spacecraft, and they don't want to make a report. I think kind of like foreshadows what happens with the Roy character, because like he's telling everybody about it, and like he's freaking out his family. He's being alienated because pardon the pun, but yeah, so like some people like they don't even want to like talk about this stuff because people are just gonna assume they're crazy.
Gross 116 million. Oh no, 288 million worldwide. 116 million in US and Canada. Okay, that's pretty good. By today's standards, like everything's inflated, so but that would be a bomb now. Right. They'd be like, it needs to make $500 million. But yeah, it has like it's like so well made and beautifully crafted, the story and everything. Like you said, it got Oscars attention and like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm curious like where it ended up in like the box office. 'Cause obviously Star Wars was, I keep saying obviously, but yeah, Star Wars was the highest gross. But yeah, then Smokey and the Bandit, I've never seen that. And then yeah, Close Encounters was the third highest grossing movie, and then Saturday Night Fever, which we've covered before.
Yeah, there's a big sci-fi craze because of Star Wars and stuff, and I think that's why and the fact that he's so close to Lucas as well, Spielberg. He's like, let me do sci-fi, and he did it really well. Yeah, is this his first sci-fi film? It might be.
It may have been. Definitely for feature, right? Because what was his? He did like Duel. Like, I haven't even seen Jaws, like all of his earlier ones, like Sugarland Express. But yeah, definitely, it probably was.
And yeah,
feature. My mom was saying like she had like a big. I think probably around when this came out, she had the like a photo album thing with like stills for the movie. Yeah, because like you said, it's beautiful to look at all the effects.
It is beautiful. The spaceships and everything. It looks so cool, and yeah, it's just like the shot composition and everything. Like I said, looks beautiful. Yeah. And
it's interesting too. Like they never really did like a sequel to this or anything. Like it's very much standalone. They never did like a TV show. I guess that's kind of like the case with Alien. Also, they did the Atari game.
Yeah, E.T. is like a spiritual successor kind of to this movie, but
sure,
this is more like that 2001 kind of vibe, and it's very like technical and nerdy. There's a lot of like talking, like the Lacombe character, the French guy, like him trying to figure out what's going on and the coordinates and all this, driving around. I loved when they were navigating and using a map. I'm like, oh yeah, people don't use that fucking shit anymore. Would be so
it feels
lost.
So antiquated now. We have like Waze on our phone, and
they're not even driving on like the road.
A paper map.
Yeah, they're just driving their car on like dirt because all the roads are closed because they like fake it's that there's like some radioactive spill or something like that. Like the government comes up with a lie.
They do release like I forget what the name of the chemical is. Yeah, like it knocks you out, and it's another thing too. I like that it's a lot of like real locations. It's before like everything was like. Not that like not everything, but a lot of things like being shot in like sound stages. But yeah, this is you could tell.
Yeah, there was a real sense of that's true. Yeah, like authenticity to everything. Yeah, it's like inspired by like those B movies and so on. Like Lucas too. They were inspired by like the movies they watched as kids, and there was a lot of like science fiction, that kind of stuff. But they like elevate it. They make it something like higher class, like Spielberg does with this movie.
Yeah, and I'm curious too. I might be reading into it a little bit, but like the fact that Francois Truffaut's in the movie. Spielberg was a big fan, and his movies delved into kind of like domestic unease as well, like the 400 Blows. I don't know if that's meant to be like a deliberate correlation. I mean, he didn't do sci-fi, but like the idea, kind of like broken families, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's definitely like that angle throughout the movie of like the dad, like the mom getting a divorce or something.
Presumably,
like probably
I can't find him anyway. He's not showing up to the he's
not showing up. He went off with the aliens.
Also, like a side, I have a DVD. It's not great quality. I can maybe get it. I've had it for a while. Maybe like get a Blu-ray, but like
it's on Prime.
I guess the version I watched is a special edition because I think there are more scenes of him like arguing with his family, whatever. That I don't think are in the theatrical version. There are a couple different cuts.
Yeah, you see like the interior of the mothership. I think.
Oh! I don't think that was in this version.
Oh yeah. There's one. There's a few.
You
different
could probably
versions,
look it up. So usually they like lists like how like the versions.
They made a special edition in 1980, and then 1998 there was 1980? Like a 1980. It scorched. A Rite Aid?
Scorch so they came down. And
you get the
hey, everybody, douche your dressing.
People are upset. Explain what douche your dressing is. It's basically, I don't know. It's so stupid. You gotta describe. He gives like a name, and you gotta guess if it's a type of salad dressing or a type of like douche, like a brand of douche. I've like never heard of any. Like, is that even like a thing? Douche.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
I
other
don't, it's
douches
such
that
a
have
bizarre
same
category.
Yeah, he just kind of did it for the name.
Yeah. Wheel of Meat.
Oh, let me see. Yeah. He got nominated for Best Picture. No, that's Golden Globes. We don't give a shit about those. Fuck those. It actually won Best Cinematography. Yeah.
It won for cinematography?
Yeah. Which it deserves, I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
Zsigmond.
And I think there was some, I don't know if there was some drama, like, because if you notice in the credits, it says like additional photography by like some other cinematographer. I mentioned like John Alonzo, I think, did like Scarface. Like there are certain scenes that had different cinematographers. Yeah, there may have been some drama behind the scenes, but yeah, most of it was shot by Vilmos Zsigmond. It was the same producers as Taxi Driver, like the Phillips. It was like Michael and Julia Phillips. They were a married couple at the time, I believe.
It was also nominated for Best Director, Best Supporting Actress, like you said, Best Art Direction, Best Film Editing, Score, Sound, Visual Effects.
Not bad. Should have been included for Best Picture also, I would think.
And he got a Special Achievement Award for Frank Warner for sound effects editing. Good job, Frank Warner. Yeah. No, it's got good sound. Yeah, it's very like grounded. Everything. Yeah, you just really are like immersed in like the world of it. It's very believable. Yeah, great movie.
Yeah, and as a side note, I think I had read. I mean, there may have been other reasons, but Spielberg and Richard Dreyfuss were preoccupied with this movie, so they didn't go back for Jaws 2. This was the better project.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, they should have been in Jaws 2. Yeah, he's good in Jaws. I like Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He's a little kooky now, as you probably read in the news. Yeah, a lot of strong. Like there was like a screening of Jaws recently. He was like acting like a nut or whatever. It was like a Q&A thing. He was like going on rants. Kind of like he's acting like he did in this movie.
Maybe the aliens are transmitting
freaking people out. But yeah, he is good in this. I think I think he was maybe meant to be like the character. I think was maybe meant to be a little older, but they just worked on Jaws together, and that was definitely a good partnership.
It wasn't distracting. Yeah, there's no sequels or anything else. There's nothing really. There's the sequel. The aliens come back and they're pissed off because of climate change or something like that. I don't know.
They could do it for the 50th anniversary. Yeah, they could do a sequel.
They'll probably remake it one day or something, and they could tell.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Make a really bad version of it. But I would rate this film 5 stars.
Same here. It's a classic. Yeah, please check it out if you haven't already.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Let me know if you see a UFO.
Yeah, look out for Close Encounters.